And I'm back. I'm back. It's been 2 weeks since I've been gone, a little over 2 weeks. And so today's class with Dr. Peter McCullough is not going to happen. He was called in to testify. And so you got me today. All of a sudden, you've got me today. So without further ado, I am going to go ahead and get you guys in the moment. Fasten your seatbelts. It's time to breathe. And it's time to dance. Here we go.
We need the record button here.
Oh, and we need the record. I'm out of practice. Here we go. Thank you.
The Lillian McDermott Show.
We love, we fear, bridges we burn, we make mistakes, then we live and learn. When life gets tough, and it seems like your best ain't good enough. If you're in need of hope, you know where I'll be right here. Right here, and when you need a friend, you can count on me. I'll be right here, waiting for
you. This is the place you can always turn to when you need a friend. The Lillian McDermott Show. To reach out to Lillian, visit her on the web at whenyouneedafriend.com. Now let's all learn together. Here's Lillian McDermott.
Hello, my listening and viewing friend. It's so nice we can meet each other on the air on this beautiful, best day ever. And for those of you who are tuning into the classroom for the first time, please know I've been waiting for you. This is a safe place where you can go to when you need a friend. It is my commitment to provide natural ways to heal. And it is my mission to make awareness, responsibility, and truth a part of my everyday life. And I hope you, my listening, as well as my viewing friend, will feel empowered to embrace a new truth and live the life of your dreams. As you can imagine, I've been preparing for today's class with Dr. Peter McCullough. Dr. Peter McCullough was called to testify and was not able to make it today. So you guys have me, but I've been gone for 2.5 weeks. I've been on vacation. I've been practicing self-care, or have I? Because everything happened today. It's like 12:01. Dr. McCullough's not coming. Oh my goodness. So here comes back all the stress and all the stuff that normally happens that you guys don't get to find out about, because usually by now I'll have another topic or something to that effect, but I got nothing. I got nothing other than the fact that I've been gone since the beginning of July, and here we are now, the end of July, and these 2 weeks have just zoomed by. The first week, so that you know, Robert and I took a no electrical components, no phones, no Wi-Fi, no nothing, no pictures. So you didn't see any pictures of me on the internet. It was just the two of us. We celebrated our 28th wedding anniversary. We got away and it was phenomenal. I loved not checking my phone every 5 minutes, because I need to stay on top of things, because if I don't stay on top of things, then things will fall apart. And that was my perception. To tell you that I have not been on Facebook or YouTube, other than for research for today's class, which we'll have to reschedule another time with Dr. McCullough. He's an amazing man who has stepped it up quite a bit. And what happens when you step it up and you're blazing the trail? You have all the bullets, all the arrows on your back. And he is certainly doing that right now and receiving the brunt of what it's like to take a stand. So today I thought, when I found out like a minute ago that Dr. McCullough was not going to be coming, I thought, okay, well, what have I been doing for the last couple of weeks? Self-care. So this is what happens when you make plans, you make God laugh, basically. And so I am excited to be back. I'm excited to be back with all of you. But my plan today, or my plan last week, was to take an extra week off to work on things that I have not been able to work on. Like my book, for example. I wanted to work on other things. I wanted to establish a self-care routine for myself that would support me from this point on, because there has been, and I don't like to use the word stress, but I'm going to use the word stress because it is a part of why we get sick. At the beginning of the year in 2022, January 2022, I came down with what some people say was the current virus. But I never tested for it, but I did lose my smell and my taste. And so I did have temperature. I did lose my ability to want to eat or taste or anything to that effect. So yes, at the beginning of the year, I did experience that. And as a result, that has prompted or recreated a recurrence of Epstein-Barr. And so I've been very mindful about what it is that I need to do to put it back in dormancy. I had chickenpox as a child. I also had mononucleosis as an 18-year-old. And as a result, that virus was dormant in my body. And that's one of the things that happened. So for those of you who have had the virus, or any virus for all that matters, any trauma, any stress in your life, it is possible that a dormant virus, such as Epstein-Barr, HIV, AIDS, depending on what the virus that's dormant in your body, could be reactivated. And this is what happened to me. So I've had a couple of times where I've taken time off, and that week off hasn't been enough. Because when I come back the following week, it seems that I am trying to catch up for the week that I was off, plus do exactly what I needed to do. So I decided I wasn't going to do that anymore. So I gave myself 2 weeks. So what happens when we get back? The night that we got back, I started feeling a sore throat again. And the next day I had a fever of 103. And this plan to establish self-care became urgent. It became urgent because now I can't get out of bed. I'm exhausted. And I would say by Thursday, I went to my upper cervical chiropractor, which, by the way, I want to do a class on this. I really do, because in a very short period of time, by tweaking some of my points in my body, it released this flight feeling inside of me. And I do want to talk about this in the future. And I had this pounding pain in the back of my head, a pounding pain. And within a short period of time, it was gone. So by Friday, this whole week that I was planning, I got up early. I felt like I had enough strength to get to the beach and walk the beach. And part of establishing a self-care routine is exercising. And so instead of going to the gym and working out too much or whatever, I went to the beach and I walked. I also journaled. I also did some of the things that I wanted to do. Spent the weekend still a little bit congested, still not feeling 100%, but well enough that on Monday I was able to visit my parents, which I hadn't seen other than on what do you call it? FaceTime. I hadn't seen them in several weeks. So all these things put together, building up to this moment, I realized sometimes we make plans and those plans are superseded by other things. And yes, I could have been upset about the health crisis or the way I was feeling, or the fact that I wasn't able to establish what I wanted to establish, work on my book, whatever it was that I could have been frustrated about that. But instead, what I decided to do was go with the flow. In fact, on Wednesday, the Wednesday that I was sick, I actually coached my small group that I coach. These are people that have attended the workshop. And now they continue their personal growth. And once a month we come together as a group, and it's such a beautiful group. I love every single person that is there. And even though I did not feel well, and that was the day before I went to the upper cervical chiropractor, I had that pain in the back of my head, just pounding and it hit my eye and it would ricochet to the other side of my brain, along with congestion, but the Holy Spirit allowed me to complete the tasks that I needed to complete, if it was even bare minimum. And so while I was gone, the overall, in that extra week that I was so excited about, that I wasn't going to do anything, I was going to have a staycation, and I was going to be very limited on my use of the internet, use of Wi-Fi, and all those things, that changed dramatically. It dramatically changed when my body called for something else. So my question to you is, what happens to you when you make plans and those plans fall through the cracks or the wayside or whatever happens? Do you go with the flow, or are you angry the whole entire time that what you had planned did not happen? What do you choose? What do you choose? What choices do you have? Yes, you can complain about it. You have every right to do so. But every 5 minutes that you experience anger in your life, your immune system is compromised 8 hours. So what a choice you have. You can choose to complain and affect your immune system. And listen, I understand that anger, that 5 minutes of anger, sometimes you need to go through that so that you can get whatever is in you out. But then you need to let it go and start rebuilding your immune system. It's very important to practice that self-care. And I keep coming back to that self-care. I keep coming back with going with the flow. And so, yeah, my week it wasn't planned the way I wanted it to be planned. Today wasn't planned the way I wanted it to be planned, or didn't happen the way I was planning it. But you know what? Perhaps there was something I needed to say today that I wouldn't have said had Dr. Peter McCullough been with me today. So what is it that you need to hear? What is it that I need to say? Because the theme that kept coming, because what happens is when somebody doesn't show up or someone doesn't contact us, we have a certain threshold of time. And in that time, Robert is calling, or my assistant is calling to find out, are we having a breakdown in communication where they're not able to get on Zoom? We need to figure all that out. In the meantime, I'm trying to figure out, okay, if I do go live, then what? Because if I do go live, I'm not going to sit here and twirl my thumbs. This is when I rely on 100% prayer and God to enlighten me and to speak through me. This is when I wish I would rely more on this because sometimes my own will takes over. But when things like this happen and I got nothing, I have got to rely on a higher power. And for some people, that higher power may be God. For others, that might be called nature or the universe or Allah or Yahweh or Jehovah, whatever that higher. I'm not here to convince you that God and Jesus are my Lord and Savior. I'm not here to convince anybody of that. Rather, I'm here to encourage you to tap into that higher power, because I believe God supersedes all, even my own beliefs. And so as I'm looking at how my week didn't turn out the way, how today didn't turn out the way it was supposed to be, I say thank you. I say thank you with gratitude. I truly say thank you. In the past, the old me or the younger me would have been, oh, can you believe this? No, it can't be that way anymore. Because what I understand is that what God ordains, or what God wants to happen, what God ordains, no man can contain. No one can change the path that God has for us. Now, I do believe, because, with Dr. Day coming on, she's going to be coming on next week. We're going to be talking about her new book about germs. She says that we have no free will. Well, I agree up to a certain point, but here's where we disagree. I believe that God has a plan for us. Each one of us has a plan. Hold on a second. My plan is to drink right now. God has a plan for us. And it could take us 20 years to achieve that plan, or 10 minutes by surrendering. It all depends on how obedient I am, or how open I am to that plan. So what's it going to be? Am I going to fight God and create my own? Am I going to do that? I could say, I'm going to create my own plan. Like, for example, I'll give you, and I kind of use this conversation with my small group. When in Genesis, when Abraham was promised descendants as numerous as the stars and as numerous as the grains of sand, they waited. But then they also created their own plan. So for those of you who know the story of Sarah and Abraham, they waited a little bit, but then they started going, this doesn't seem right. This is not the plan that God said that he had for me. So let me create my own plan. So Abraham and Sarah talked about maybe he procreate with her handservant, her maid, the person who took care of her. And that's how Ishmael and the tribe of 12 happened. That's where so many of the people came from, as opposed to Isaac. And so Isaac came later on, but it came regardless of the disobedience. It happened no matter what. But in the meantime, they're trying to figure out, how do I create all this abundance with descendants? And they were wrong. But even in them being wrong, God blessed them. God blessed that tribe, that nation through Ishmael. There was purpose in the error of their ways. How many times have you thought that something needs to be a certain way? It needs to be perfect in order for you to step forward and do whatever you're being called to do. Well, perfection may not always look the way we think it should look. Perfection might look totally different than what the plan on paper should look like. So what do? You curse, or you say, let me look back and see, how is this now going to be a change in my pattern, a change in my desire, a change in my vision? So Isaac was created, and Sarah and Abraham did whatever they could to protect Isaac. And then God protected the rest. They protect all, even Ishmael and Hagar and the story. And I would encourage you to read that story. You can find it in Genesis 18. That's the story of the abundance that was promised to Abraham and Sarah. Or the woman with the blood issue that you will find in Mark 5:21-34. That woman, imagine she had a blood disorder for 12 long years. Can you imagine the resources that were spent? Can you imagine the frustration of being sick? And yes, not that I can relate to that, but I was sick last week. And that was not part of my plan. I wanted to be healthy. But what are you willing to do to be healthy? What was she willing to do to be healthy? And it was to be faithful and to do whatever she needed to do to achieve the desires that she wanted to. And that to her was her faith. It was her perseverance. It was touching her intention was to touch Jesus, and just touching the hem of the garment that Jesus was wearing drained him of his energy. And she was healed. Yeah, sometimes going to the doctor may do the trick. Sometimes it doesn't. Maybe it's that faith that will heal you. But what are you willing to do? She showed up. She showed up and touched the hem of the garment of Jesus. She could have said, well, I'm going to stay home today and I'm just going to play Wordle or Word with Friends or watch the latest Netflix series. She chose to get out and put herself out there. So that's part of that self-care. Part of the self-care is doing whatever you need to do. And in faith, step out and say, whatever happens, I am not married to the outcome, but I got to do this. No matter what the outcome is, I am going to touch this person. I just need to do that. That is what I'm being called to do. How many times are we being called to do something, but we second guess it? We say, oh no, don't pick me, like Moses. Don't pick me, Lord. I don't speak well. I don't know how to do the things you want me to do. How many times do we say no? But guess what? God picks somebody else to do it. And guess what? You don't get the blessing. Somebody else will get the blessing. So there's so many different ways, so many different aspects to look at what your plan is and how you can still practice that self-care, even if your plan doesn't work out. And what about the man? And you know, I tell the story so much. The man that was stuck in Bethsaida, at the side of the pool. And the whole concept was that if the spring would bubble up, if it bubbled up, then the first person who jumped into the pool was healed. So this guy, for, I don't know, 38 years, isn't that a long time? Was waiting and waiting and waiting. And Jesus knew that all he needed to do was heal him. That's all he wanted. That's all he wanted. But Jesus asked him the question, what do you want? Do you want to be healed? Now, Jesus knew the answer to that, but Jesus calls us to awareness. What do we want? I needed self-care. What do you want? What do you need right now? What do you need right now? Do you need to pick up your mat and walk, which is what he said to Jesus, that Jesus told the paralytic man? When he asked the question, do you want to be healed? The man said, yes. Jesus could have picked him up or put his hand on him or put whatever and said, you're healed. But that didn't happen that way. He had to pick up his mat. And we are being called to do that as well. We're being called to do whatever it takes. And I'm asking you right now, if you were to put your hand over your heart and breathe in how the temperature of your heart is, what's the state of affairs of your heart? Would there be cobwebs, tumbleweeds, or would it be moist and supple and smooth and tender? Would you recognize it as your heart? Has it changed shape, sizes, or form? Has it gotten hard? Put your hands over your heart and just breathe. But don't just breathe through your nose and through your chest. Breathe through your gut, through your diaphragm, where you actually see your gut expand. and ask yourself the question, where do I need to pay attention to my heart and my body? Where do I need to pay attention? What is the condition that I find myself in? Do I have physical need for care? Do I have a social or mental need for care? Do I have a spiritual or emotional need for care? Wherever your need for care is, it is so important that you start with that, what do you want answer? What do you want? Do you want to be healed? If the answer is yes, we must pick up our mat. Once again, we got to do whatever it takes to get to where we want to get to. And as you know, I have a lot of things going on in the workshop, in the classroom. Whether it's the classes, like tomorrow, Dr. Jennifer Grameth is going to be in the classroom, and she's going to be talking about cancer protocols. Or you can join the next workshop, the I Am the Solution workshop, where you get to spend time with you, and God. And a bunch of us too. It's a small group. It'll be a small group. And for the price of just a little bit over 1 hour, you get 17 hours plus of coaching, because we're all teachers and we're all students. And so we learn from one another starting August 26th through 28th. I've already got Dr. Lorraine Day booked for Saturday on the 27th of August. This is where we can excavate and really dig into our heart and discover, how does our brain work? How does our brain work with me? Why is it do I have these reoccurring thoughts of gloom and doom and stress? And why is it that I cannot achieve the desires of my heart? Why is it? Or my life is perfect. My life is perfect, and I just want to be grateful and get to know myself and get to that next higher level. Whatever your desire is, whatever that spoken, unspoken words from your heart are, that's where we listen. And that's where we need to pick up our mat or just touch the garment. But it requires action. It requires for you to sign up. And space is limited. And this is virtual. So you don't have to travel to Florida. You can, out of the privacy, you just need to have a private area where you could speak freely and others can speak freely without being heard by people who are not in the workshop. Because it is a holy weekend where 100% confidentiality, 100% trust in the team that's there for you to experience whatever it is that you need to experience. Sometimes we find ourselves trapped and we don't know why. Could it be that I'm trapping myself? Or could it be that I am honoring an ancestor who has been trapped and I've just been holding on to that emotion? And that's what the body code is for. And the body code is going to be November 5th and 6th. So this last week, there's going to be 2. This is it. No more discounts. So on July 31st, there are discounts for both workshops. The first one is going to be for the I Am the Solution workshop. And that is, I think, a $50 discount. So it's like $205 or versus $250. So like $45. But you can still purchase the tickets at the going rate, which is without the discount for both. So both, there's a discount code for the body code of LILLY 002 until July 31st. Or you can take advantage of early registration with the I Am the Solution virtual weekend, which is where you get to tap into that emotional component, physiological. What is it that you need so that you're not sitting by the pool for 38 years going, my life could have been, it should have been. And by the way, only leaders get to go to this workshop. And I'm talking about the I Am the Solution now. I'm not talking about the body code. I already mentioned the body code. You guys all know about the body code. And hopefully you will join the body code. But that discount is Lilly. It's LILLY, all lowercase, 002. If you want a $30 discount for that. But when it comes to the I Am the Solution, it's a virtual weekend where you get to really look at yourself, not your spouse, not your significant other, not your annoying brother or sister or relative that pokes you in the eye in a way that makes you feel less than. Or maybe it's not for people who are weak. This is for people who know that there's more. And maybe you just don't know how to achieve the more. And that weekend, we learn on Friday about the brain and how the brain works and how to find commonality with others, how to understand the different key elements that we need to achieve in order to start that putting ourselves open to pick up our mat and walk. That's Friday. That's a lot of information on Friday. And then on Saturday, it's what's your relationship with God or a higher power? Or why not? I mean, we're not going to shame anybody into not having a relationship, but can we explore? Why not? What is it about that you want to learn about? That maybe you learn something about God, or because you learn something about yourself, you learn something about God because God is in you, whether you like it or not. God is in all of us. Can you tap into that power? Do you want to tap into this power? And what keeps you from tapping into that power? Because I always say that if only a speck of God is in you, and it's in you, what can't you do? Because God could do all things. I could do all things with that God that is in me too. So I want to encourage you to be curious about that higher power. And I don't care what you call the higher power, but we will talk about God and Jesus in the workshop. But you don't have to believe it or not. It's just a way for you to learn more about an opportunity to choose or an opportunity to walk away. It's up to you. And then on Sunday, that's the big day. That's when we put everything together. And we really look at the I Am the Solution. The I Am, which is the God in me, and I be the solution. And solution is an acronym that will help you achieve that life that you desire. That's why I say it's for leaders. It uncovers leader. And if you tell me I'm not a leader, I'm not qualified for this, everybody's a leader. Everybody's a leader. Everybody's a follower. And it's just a matter of, where are you in that? Are you more of a follower? Are you more of a leader? But you have both in you. How can you tap into that leadership? How can you tap? And if you're a strong leader and you're so strong at leadership that you don't know how to follow, then maybe it's time to learn how to follow. So whatever you need out of the weekend, it will allow you to tap into it and discover what it is that you want, what it is that you can achieve it. It's a wonderful weekend. It's called I Am the Solution. And I'll post the link of the I Am the Solution And I will also put the code in there, the Lily002 code in there, because it is so important that we do whatever it takes to live the life that we want. Now, many of us have given away our power. Many of us have made choices, and these choices have caused disease and illness in our life. And so what I would love to encourage you to do is to truly look at, what have I done to create this hardness in my heart, or illness in my body, or mental, again, physical, social, mental, spiritual, emotional, those 5 aspects of who I am. How can I nurture it? How can I give it that self-care? Again, for me, it was give myself an extra day, an extra week where I could just be. No social media, no nothing other than the posting of affirmations. And I'm so glad for my assistant who does that for me. Those are things that are so important to being part of that daily meditation. You know, that first thing in the morning. What do you do first thing in the morning when you wake up? Do you pick up your phone to look at who's doing what on Facebook, or do you ground yourself and center yourself spiritually, emotionally, mentally, physically, all those things? Do you take that time? Or are you ready to work? I have been ready to work. And what happens is, little by little, I've depleted that spiritual or that emotional. And come Thursday afternoon, when I'm done with all the things that I need to do for my work week, it's like, oh, it's like time to catch up. But feast or famine doesn't work for the body. If you starve yourself, your body will start hoarding things that doesn't need to hoard. And so if you establish that pattern of self-care in the morning before you pick up your phone to see how the Joneses are living differently than you, and you longing for something that you cannot have or do not know how to work for, or whatever it is. That's why I'm combining self-care with the I Am the Solution workshop. So self-care is going to take on a different meaning for all of you, because every single one of you is dealing with different things. And that's the beauty of the I Am the Solution workshop, virtual workshop, on August 26th, 27th, and 28th. We start at 6 p.m. on Friday. So if you work, we can work it out so that you can be at your computer at 6 p.m. so that you can start the process of investing in yourself. It's an investment in yourself. And then and we go until probably 9 or 10, depending on how much sharing and how much processing needs to be done. And then on Saturday, we start at noon Eastern time. These hours are Eastern time. So Saturday and Sunday, we start at noon. So that gives you time for your morning. So if you want to go to church, or if you need to do a little bit of work, whatever it is that you need to do, then we start at noon Eastern time. And then we go till 6 or 7. So you still have time to go out with your friends or do whatever it is. I encourage all of you to kind of like have a quiet weekend, but you don't have to. You don't have to have a quiet weekend. But the more you invest in yourself that weekend, the more you get out of the weekend. But I've had to finish the work Saturday and go visit my children or my grandchildren or family member because it's a birthday or some celebration that needs to happen. I've done it. But I've done this workshop many times. I think we're going on our 5th or 6th workshop. And I hope that it has your name on it. All you have to do is go to whenyouneedafriend.com, and there's a pop-up, and you can click on to learn more about the workshop. And while you're there, please subscribe. Please subscribe. And now we have our class at whenyouneedafriend.com. So if you're not happy with Facebook or YouTube, and you've been watching me, the recordings on BitChute or Odyssey, now you can watch live at whenyouneedafriend.com. So you don't compromise your ethics by tuning into these platforms. So while you're looking at the different platforms, please like and subscribe, follow wherever you feel comfortable, and share with your friends, because I'm being garbled by the algorithms. This information is life-changing. The information in the classroom is life-changing. What are you going to do about the information? Will you share it? Can you help me by sharing? There's other ways that you can also help the classroom. One of them is by supporting my sponsors. Dr. Jennifer Gramuth, she is going to be coming on tomorrow, and we're going to be talking about cancer protocols that she follows for her patients. And then we also have the pharmacy in Merritt Island, and anything I need, I go to Ross Clark at the pharmacy. Let them know that I sent him there. If you're in Brevard County and you want to physically go there, it's unlike any pharmacy. And what I love about Ross is that instead of taking the pill, you can compound it with your skin. So they have a compounding, you can just put it on your skin as opposed to taking the pill. And also it's like walking into Mayberry. It's like walking, it's like stepping back in time, where your pharmacists and the people there were your family, and they would take the time to spend, and there was like little things you could pick up, and it's just wonderful, the pharmacy in Merritt Island. And if you mention my name, you get 20% off. Just say Lily sent me 20% off your first order. You can also help out through the affiliate programs. And these affiliate programs will help, like Keep Me Safe Organics, B3 Bands. And if you look at my muscles, I haven't really worked out, but still, I still have them because I've been gone for really 3 weeks and haven't been really working out, but I still feel comfortable enough where I know that the B3 Bands are helping me. And I just absolutely love it. So check out that. And when you tap into those affiliate, the Shop Now bag, you're helping out the classroom because they give the classroom a small percentage, and that helps grow the classroom. So if you don't want to become an enrolled student in the classroom, which helps immensely, you can also shop at whenyouneedafriend.com, little Shop Now bag, and that will help. Every penny helps. And as I've said, as an enrolled student in the classroom, whether it's $1 or $1,000 a month, anything that you can donate helps with the classroom. As you know, we've had to increase. There's been so many expenses that we've had that if it's not for the generosity of the enrolled student, whether it's a reoccurring dollar amount or a one-time fee or a donation, it is so greatly appreciated. You don't understand how I've had to trust in God to provide for the classroom, in any way possible, because there are expenses, plus the fact that we're being garbled, the algorithms are being garbled. We need all the support we can get. So again, whether it's your time, your talent, your treasure, but please help out in any way that you can. Today, we were going to be talking to Dr. Peter McCullough, but instead you are talking to me. We are having a conversation today. And so with that in mind, if you have a question, if you have, whether it's about the body code or the giveaway that we have you sent me a text yet, because I have not responded to any of the texts that we did, the last class that we did on July 7th. And I think that the giveaway is going to be at the end of this month, which is July 30th, 31st. We're going to be giving away 2 Arkin water supply systems. They're over the counter, reverse osmosis, 0 installation. And we did that class. That was the last class I did before I went on vacation. And there are certain things that you need to do in order to achieve that, to get your name. And the more you do, the more your name gets into the winner's basket. And I will draw 2 names, because they're going to be giving a 2, and they're going to be coming back. I think it's in a week or so, and we'll announce the winners. So it's so important that you do whatever you can. And if you're just learning about the free giveaway, I mean, this is like a $600 and some dollar. I'm trying to remember how much the price is of it. $699 gift. And there's nothing like it in the world. So the water is not only reverse osmosis, and it's over the counter. It's almost like the size of a coffee maker. But it also has a UV light that kills anything that comes into the water by sitting there. There's just so many. It dispenses cold water. It dispenses hot water, room temperature water. There's so many different things that it does. I wish I had that one when I first started drinking reverse osmosis water. And but check out the video, and it's on all social media. It's on my YouTube channel. It's on my BitChute, Odyssey, Facebook channel. So check out what you need to do in order to get your name in the winner's basket. And the more you share that video, you need to let me know so that I can add you to the winner's basket. And so there's so many different ways that we can continue to grow and be together. Personal growth is so important. It really is. And that is what we don't do for ourselves. We do continuing education for our careers. You know, if you're a CPA or a doctor or a practitioner, you have got a plumber, whatever requires continuing education, we're willing to do it. That's here. But what happens when you get that diploma? What happens to the spiritual aspect of who you are, that emotional component of who you are, that mental component of who you are? Where do you sharpen those tools? That's what I want to challenge you to do. And again, if you have a question, you can text me at 407-373-5959. That's 407-373-5959. And it doesn't matter where you're at. Anywhere around the world, you can attend the I Am the Solution workshop. That's what's so unique about this workshop. We will meet you where you're at. So you could be a mental health counselor. It doesn't matter. This is a different perspective on your life. Life-changing information. There's a lot of people that are still very upset about their childhood or their past or what happened yesterday or 30 years ago, and they carry it with them like a sack of potatoes. That's exhausting. It's time to release it. What happens to your body when you don't release these emotions? It breaks down. It causes stress. And trust me, no matter how long I do this, I am still working on myself. I call it being a self-cleaning oven. Are you wanting to be a self-cleaning oven too? Isn't that great? You just press a button and all of a sudden, hours later, you open your oven and it's all clean. But guess what? There's still some ashes that you need to wipe. It doesn't happen like, you know, I'm done with it, or I've forgiven this person, or I've dealt with it already. It doesn't work that easy. If it did, then great. There would be no wars in this world because everybody would know how to work with one another. But yet, even people who are psychiatrists, psychologists, mental health counselors, they still have issues. Doctors still get sick. We still have to look within us. And hopefully when we look within us, we see the God that is in us so that we can tap into it and live that life that God wants for us. Again, when I started talking about this at the beginning, where I said, this is where Dr. Day and I kind of differ. She believes that there is no free will. And to a certain point, I believe that too. There is no free will because God's will supersede our will. But just like Abraham and Sarah, who created their own will, and it took them a longer journey, like here's from here to here, this is where you need to go. But what happens is we might go this way, this way, this way, this way, this way, back this way, across this way, traverse down, and then eventually get to here. It might take years. But no matter what we do, yes, there are consequences. And yes, sometimes those consequences are difficult. But if we remain faithful and we go back and we look at all the different twists and turns that got us to where God wanted us to be, you will find that in every turn, God blessed us. I have fallen short many times in doing God's plan. I have done things that I never thought I would do because I wanted to follow my own will. And there have been consequences to those things. And still consequences that will continue on in the future. But I know God blesses me through all my circumstances. God gives me whatever I need to survive whatever it is that I have created in my life. And maybe some of you, speaking of which, might feel that you haven't chosen your path. You feel like a victim. We address that too in the workshop, I promise you, because there are no victims other than children. When you were a child, yes, you were a victim, but as an adult, you're no longer a victim. You can't allow those circumstances to control your life forever, or to keep you from the life that you want. Maybe something is happening in your life today that you're not happy with. And you can't sleep, you can't eat. And I'm telling you, congratulations, because you are the solution. I am the solution. Please consider attending the workshop. Please consider taking an investment in your life, in your spirit, your mind, your body, not just your career, your finances, and your education. Make that a part of your personal growth, part of your personal journey. Perhaps maybe you're exactly where you need to be and feel so disgusted or so uncomfortable so that you say, wow, there's no way out now but to do this, to join the course, to do whatever it takes to live the life that you want. This is not the end all be all. This is just the beginning. And so I want to encourage you to join us, the I Am the Solution workshop, starting August 26th, 27th, and ending on the 28th of August. We have the discount early registration that ends this weekend. So take advantage of it. Take advantage of the discount because I love a good discount. And check out all the videos. Check out how you can get an over-the-counter reverse osmosis for free. And please remember, I will be here, right here waiting for you worldwide at whenyouneedafriend.com. This is Lillian McDermott wishing you love, peace, joy, and unexpected abundance. Make it the best day ever.
The opinions and advice expressed on the Lillian McDermott radio show are intended for the individual callers and guests on the program and are presented to our wider audience solely for general educational purposes. Please act responsibly and consult personally with your own medical, psychological, or nutritional expert before taking any steps to improve your life.
Okay, everybody. Thank you so much for watching today. Look forward to seeing you tomorrow with Dr. Jennifer Grometh. And if not, it'll be me again. We'll see you. Take care.